Welcome to the first episode of 2024 Focus in Action podcast. In this overloaded world of information, focus has become the new currency and our attention span is reducing day by day. And that's where in our Focus in Action podcast, we invite real time people sharing their stories of failures, trials, sadness, heartbreaks to success, resilience, adaptability, and focus. Moreover, how committed they were to paying attention to the task that mattered to them the most, despite living in this highly distracted world, is commendable. Hi, this is Premsai Samantaray, your clarity coach, and today I'm honored to invite my dearest friend, Amee, and let me introduce her to you all. Amee is a ICFCC certified soft skills communication expert and founder of Speak with Amee, specializing in crafting and upskilling communication needs to corporate and individuals. She is recognized as a LinkedIn top voice in 2024. She has 19 years of experience in L&D, having trained over 20,000 employees and students in India and China. She is an award-winning member of the Powai Toastmasters Public Speaking Club, representing the club at area level speech contest. The transformational journey from being a last bencher to a front mentor is what Amee is all about. She represents India at the World Choir Games held in China in 2008. She is a certified NLP practitioner and she has provided expert advice in midday in the year 2022 and 2023. She was honored with Women's Achievers Award 2024 by Young Environmentalist Trust very recently. Amee is a mother of 7-year-old boy, Braj, and wife of textile trader Dhaval. And her journey is about breaking barriers and moving from the last venture to front mentor. So let's meet Amee, a persona that shines beyond barriers. Welcome, Amee.
Welcome.
And how are you doing today?
Good, good. Thank you so much, Premsai, for that wonderful introduction. And that was like a big list coming over. And thank you so much. All right. I'm doing good.
Okay, great. So Amee, as the last sentence of your introduction says, beyond barriers or breaking the glass ceiling or breaking barriers, let's start from the start
Sure.
and tell our audience that how did it all start and what was your first barrier? Was it कैसे शुरू हुआ? Childhood से शुरू हुआ? How did it all start? And the onus is on you. The way you want to take it, the conversation along. So let's start with focusing as being in the Focus in Action podcast. What was the first barrier that you overcame?
Sure. So I love talking about this, Premsai, and thank you for that question. Now, if I take you back, rewind, flashback, and I think it's a Thursday, so let's take throwback moment. It all started in a very childhood. Okay, so what happened is in my very childhood, I used to be. I even remember my KG days when you're 4, 5-year-old kid, and I would always get A grade till I reached class 1. And when I reached class 1, I was studying in this school in Dadar where a lot of scholar kids were there, a lot of Maharashtrians, a lot of scholars, and kids being very good in studies. And somehow, looking at everybody, my grades started going back.
Okay, so this is in Mumbai?
And this is in Mumbai, very much, very much. So from first standard, which we talk, at that point of time, we just had SSC schools, first, second, third, fourth. I saw like 70 kids in the class. My rank started getting behind and I started becoming more as an average student.
Okay.
I would sit on the last bench, observe others, be inspired by people who are in front and, always answer, being teacher's pet. But I somehow thought something is missing. I want to be in that side of the table, where the teacher is standing or where the monitor is there or where the way the monitor leads the class. Started from there. Why not me? Why I don't get that, thing of being a monitor or being a prefect in school? And slowly and steadily, and I was surrounded by friends who were like very, very good students in the they would come in grade 1, but we would all get along very well. But then I always thought that I'm not like them, I'm not, something is missing here. And then slowly and gradually, these annual days come in school, where again, you see people who participate or with makeup on stage or on, like a theater kind of a performance. You get very inspired by them. You're like, wow, see, they are center of attraction. They are gaining attention, but somehow you're not getting it. Okay. And once my dad also spoke to the teacher, she wants to take part in a play or things like that. Like, if you see this generation, it's very different. Everybody is participating in everything in schools as well. But that time, that wouldn't happen. So the first benchers or the kids who are very smart would get that chance. So this somehow triggered me from the very childhood. And it stayed with me till class 10. So 1st to 7th, I studied in a poet school. Again, there was a big shift in a school from poet to convent, which was very strict with sisters and nuns. And my parents had to move their home, and we moved to the other part of the Bombay city. And it was difficult. Again, you're meeting girls who are very smart, intelligent.
So convent was a girls' school?
Was a girls' school, yeah. So co-ed school, at least I had friends, but they were scholars again. I could not be that monitor or prefect or being on that stage somewhere. So I always call my journey as a last venture to front mentor and what all happened there.
Yeah, the whole journey.
Whole journey. And then 8th, 9th, 10th again in a convent school. So of course, convent is an English speaking school, but people, when a lot of, I'm nothing against communities, but a lot of Catholics, and they're considered speaking very fluently and, always mastering their skills and looking good. And I would somehow feel again, something is lacking. So that's the time in 8th and 9th standard, I tried to take part in elocution competition or storytelling, but somehow I was not up to the mark because there were girls who were very, very smart and very good. When I came to college again, I was not in a very good college because of my percentage. I was always a 50-55% student. So there was a big competition, and I chose commerce as a, trying to get into banks and all. So then again, after college, I was like, no, you have to be on that part of the stage. And when I was 18 or 17 is the time when my first breakthrough happened. I started working early. My dad went through a lot of financial crisis due to business. There was some big business crisis, and we had a very good childhood. My parents were like,
Amee, here I would like to, just pause you and let's just dwell about a child who is very eager to go and to be in the other side, doing something which is next to the teacher or maybe next to the person where a class monitor would stand. That particular space was so attractive. And a child being in the last bench, let's just dwell a little more about how were the thought, feeling, and emotions.
Absolutely.
And what were your thought, feeling, and emotions then? And what was the breakthrough that could have happened just to initiate the journey? I'm not talking about that you reached that journey, coming to the front to mentor, because it was a long journey. But then how did you start doing certain things, or maybe the inner work that you might have done, so that this would be a very important call to action to people who are listening to this podcast. So if you can just give some insight and what was happening in Amee, like a child, that last bencher, what was her thought? Who was Amee being the last bencher?
Yeah. So see, when you are again on the last bench,
I mean, maybe just a little louder.
Sure. So again, when you're on the last bench and when you see people ahead, you somewhere feel sad about yourself,
Okay.
not happy. You feel somewhere you're lacking. Now, that doesn't mean that all last benchers are lacking behind, but you somehow you feel that you want to be that. You want to lead someday. And why are you not getting chance? Is there
Is it a
something
calling?
missing?
Is it a calling?
It's a calling.
It's a
A kind
calling, right?
A kind of. Yeah, yeah. You can say it's a trigger. Why you are not getting that chance? Why not?
Why I asked, because that calling was yours and the similar calling the other people didn't get. Maybe they would be having some other calling.
Yeah,
I think this is one of the point of focus where people those are listening to this podcast, or maybe youngsters, they can listen to themselves and identify the calling. Maybe because that potential was there and was desperate to blossom.
absolutely. Yeah, you're actually taking my words here. But yeah, it was always there. It was always there. I have got people in my family also who are from theater background or been into, even my cousins for that
Mm.
reason. Most of them whom I would interact with at that point of time were very intelligent, very smart. And somewhere I thought it was not that I wasn't, but then I thought, okay, this is me. When you see others around you, you somewhere feel that no, something is not good about you. Why you are not there? Why you don't look like that? Why you can't speak the way they speak? Why your English is not like that? Why? What is there? So there was always a calling. Okay. And that came into the picture when I started working.
Okay, so that particular feeling stayed with you throughout the school
Always stayed,
days,
always stayed with me
throughout the school
throughout,
days.
throughout the school days. I was very scared of exams. Okay. Every time I have to give exams, it's I know I'm going to score average. There are papers like economics where I would just score 40 out of 100. Okay. But
Okay.
but I'm like I would be scared if I have a paper next day in the morning. I'm like, I'm blank. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So there were wrong decisions and wrong way of education.
Hmm.
Also, there are times we try to learn things. Hindi में बोलते हैं ना जैसे रट्टा मारना है.
Rata mark, rot
We try to
learning.
do all that, which is not right because your concepts are not clear. And there are a lot of reasons. Today, when I look back, I see why it didn't work or what was missing there. But then there are times I feel I'm so glad that it happened. And because of that calling, your whole journey begins. You
And
know,
when did you get a situation, just take us to that moment where that calling was, nurtured with a drop of water.
okay.
Do you remember that maybe a day or a moment or a trigger or something that, ah, now I got
So
this.
what happened is 18, 19, I like told you, I started working early. So I would do, I would be the job role with the, what do you call, the name card given to you called as business development executive. But it's a sales job. So I worked for an ICICI DSA when I was 18 years old. A friend of mine was working and she introduced me. And I was like, okay, it was a 3-month summer job. I was just making some money and learning.
So
At
that
the
was an
same time,
internship or it was a proper job?
no, it was like a proper job. But for me, they wanted someone for 3 months, and ICICI was just coming with a new product called corporate accounts. So corporate account was very new at that point of time, and
Acha,
the office
okay.
was in town. I lived in Kandivli. I had to take a train and go. So all that thing of wearing formal clothes, going to job, you're getting 3,000 rupees, and you're so happy with it, and
Okay.
roaming the whole south of Mumbai, which is like a really, and you're going to from office to office, office to office. The whole team was with around 15 men, and I was
Mhm.
the only woman.
Oh,
I was scared also because my second years in school were spent in convent. So, talking to boys was a little, but somehow I always thought I want to be there. I always thought this is the place I want to be. And like, there was one more calling here. During college days, they had a storytelling competition.
okay.
And I prepared so well that I knew I was doing good here.
Okay.
But the moment I gave that story in front of the crowd, for 1 second, something happened and I just stopped in between the stage.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Fine, everyone clapped. I completed the story, and my teacher told me in the class, teacher in the sense, professor in the college, that Amy said a wonderful story, and I really liked it. And somehow I got goosebumps. I'm like, okay, Amee, you're good. Not bad. Not bad.
That's a moment.
Yeah, that was a moment. And after that, when I worked, this was the first one, and the second incident happened when I joined this company as a CSR and business development executive and selling PowerPay salary accounts for ICICI Bank. So it was a DSA, and Sunday they would call us for they work on sales and targets.
Yeah.
I did not have a big there are people who come from all kinds of backgrounds here, really looking for job, and so I didn't have that kind of a major problem. But here I was more to learn at the same time get some pocket money for myself. 18-year-old girl, and you need your thing to be independent. So when on Sunday callings, when they would call us to sell the product, they would make us sit in front of that 15 boys who were wearing a shirt and a tie, and you are the only girl. In front of everyone, there's a small glass room and there is a white board there. So you are taking your marker and you're presenting the product. Again, I would get nervous. And then my leader was like, no, you can do it. And they wanted a female to speak well. And they took me because they thought I could speak well. That was one reason. But I was not confident about myself. So slowly, steadily, I started visiting. I started doing cold calling. So if there's a newspaper, Times of India, at that time, we didn't have social media at all. So we would take the newspaper, open the newspaper and read the ads. And ads say, we would call the company. We will ask, can we speak to the HR manager? Take an interview, appointment, reach to the place and promote our product. And then I think I did student account of 100 students in one of the colleges in South Mumbai. And the very second month, they declared me as the star of the month.
Employee of the month.
Star of the month. Yeah. So that was good because 3,000 rupees is your salary and you're making 10,000 rupees at that point of time. I'm talking, this was in the year 1998. So you feel like, wow, there is another thing in you. And that did not stop me from working then onwards. Then I thought, okay, bank is my area. So all these callings started. So in a way,
did you choose to be in that job, this banking job, or
yes, because this company was looking for a female executive, I landed there, and I had a friend, and I was influenced with her. She's working for a bank, and I was like, okay, I'm a commerce student. I'll work for a bank in the future. Okay. But again, there are a lot of criteria. You give those exams and stuff like that, and then you feel stability, and you're not sure. Somehow, a person in me always gets influenced by stage, acting, drama, whatever you call it, But I was like, okay, fine, this is okay, And then so many incidents happened that it took me back to that stage. Slowly, I'll talk about it as it went. So this was these were the first two callings, that storytelling, which I did for my college, and working as a business development.
The Employee of the Month Award.
Employee of the Month Award. Because you had to go and present in front of companies. When you're an 18-year-old girl wearing trousers and shirt and wearing that scarf, presenting, you feel very good about yourself, somehow. And you like walking. We would walk entire South Mumbai with another executive, and okay, let's go to this company. Ye company mein jate. Acha, ye building hai, Makers Chambers, Reliance hai. Okay, which is the next company? We would see the list of the company and make your data. And then, okay, how do you get leads? And then we thought, okay. And that point of time, I would think maybe sales is my portrait or maybe banking is my... But then a lot of changes also happened, Then
I think what I'm hearing from you is at times when we do like we all have callings of something or the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
That is one that is coming out from this conversation till now. And second is what is coming out very, very uprightly is that we seek appreciation at times for our hard work.
Absolutely. Which was
And
missing in school. Which was
yeah,
really missing in school. Because
yeah,
I was
it
like,
was missing
okay,
in school.
yeah. See, I had that label of average student, and somewhere I had a label of even being dumb.
Oh, okay. So it
Yeah,
was a label given by yourself to yourself
you
or
know,
from others,
maybe one person must have said something
and
in the
you
school.
have taken
Like,
it
yeah,
to you.
like when I moved from co-ed to convent, okay, so there is a group of girls, and these girls would feel that they're very smart and they're very good, and they would feel. So sometimes when you're talking and you're new in school, okay, 8, 9, 10th is a very, very important age.
Vulnerable time
Very
also.
important. It's also an age where you should not move from poet to convent, but because it's an age where you start liking guys, and there are a lot of things,
Hmm.
like that adolescence, that whole thing is there with you.
Right. A
When
lot
you
of
move,
things happening at your physiological level and a lot of things happening at
absolutely,
your mental
absolutely,
level.
mental level,
And
and yeah, your confidence building, everything happens at that point.
yeah, yeah.
So when you moved there, certainly I felt like a shock, because girls thought they were very smart, they were very intelligent. They thought, okay, she's not good. So even, they have these yellow house, blue house, and all these
The house.
different houses. So even the house you are in was very ordinary. It was not doing very good. And I was in that house somehow. I don't know how,
Okay.
but I landed up again on a last bench. And I was like, oh my God, where you have landed. That school was better than this. I was at least, I had friends there, they're smarter, but then I had friends. And here I did make some very good friends here as well, but not as good as there. And then some barriers, some complex is what I started getting. I
Ah.
started getting complex. Yeah.
So Abby, when you look back to your school, both the schools, and now that you have achieved so much, if I may ask you this question, allow me to ask that was it something really missing?
No, I think everything happens for a reason, and that's how you move. That's how you go ahead. And I'm so glad that I was part of both the schools, the teachers, the friends, and that environment which I was in. Because if I wouldn't have had that breakthrough would have never happened.
Right.
Yeah. So it was very important for me, those labels. And frankly speaking, those labels started going post COVID.
Mhm.
It stays with you for years. That's how we are as humans. But then I'm so glad that it happened.
I think the missing part which you were labeling it as missing was giving a message through that calling.
Absolutely. So, when you are labeled maybe by one person that, oh, she's dumb, or she's average student, or she's in this lily house, which is not a good house, or she's okay. Somewhere the calling happens within you that you want to prove yourself.
Mhm.
So again, it's not only about proving, but you feel that no, this is not me. Okay? Yeah, it does happen that you want to prove yourself. No, I want to be ahead. I want to achieve something. I want to lead that. I want people to look upon me. Okay? I want to be in the limelight. I want to be the spotlight.
I
And
think you made a nice, good wisdom statement that when the label is thrown at you, and then when you think and sit on it, and then you said that no, this is not me.
this is not me. Yeah, absolutely.
And then when this is not me, then who am I?
Who am I?
And
Absolutely.
let me find out. And then
Let me
that's what
find
you
out.
did.
That's what I did. Yeah. So everywhere opportunity you get, then the story of breaking barrier, breaking the glass ceiling actually started. Yeah, actually started. Because see, once you are on a job and then you want to work again, and especially when you're 18, of course, I did my graduation, but you want to work. You want to work because you start seeing different world apart from the schools and college and the colleagues you meet, the way people work. I worked with HSBC for 3 months again. There was another contract that I had, again, selling banking accounts at that time, online banking, which was new,
Okay. Huh.
which was new. So, I started doing these things. And then I worked with a couple of bank companies. Like at that point of time, they were called DSA, direct
Okay.
pay
Yeah. The DAC
associate.
of the main bank.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because it was, and then, there was this labeling that if you work in a DSA for a longer time, the bank will take you. That's one way to
Yeah.
get into the
That
bank.
was a, yeah.
So I always was like, I'll get into HSBC, I'll get into this bank and that bank. And so these were a couple of things I did till my TY, but TY score was not that great, TY BCom. So I was like, now what? Then again, I worked for Citibank and I was selling what? Personal loans to doctors.
You also did the same thing. I also started doing the same thing in my initial phase.
Yeah. So,
Citibank itself.
Citibank, yeah. And, good morning. This is Amee calling from Citibank. And why I did that, there's a lot of reasons, okay? I wanted to work for a BPO was booming. Business process outsourcing. Call centers were booming. Call centers were great paying industry at that point of time. They were paying the best, like 8,000-10,000 was a big thing, to get. And you get a pickup and a drop in a city like Bombay. So you don't need to take a bus and a train. Wow, you're going in
That's
luxury.
taken care of.
And then, these foreign trainers are there. There is this environment. But for me, the barrier was they have like 7-8 rounds of interview. And in the first week, I went for an interview, 4th round rejected. Then I would cross the 6th round, but the 7th rejected. And you don't know the reason. The reason they give you is, we will get back to you.
Oh, I think that is a valid statement till now.
Okay, now I don't know because I don't.
That's a universal statement of most of the HR. They don't come to a clarity, and I think by now this statement should get reframed. They should be using an NLP reframed sentence.
Absolutely. And then you're waiting because see, you're taking that bus, train, or a rickshaw and just going nicely dressed in the morning, and Times of India make paper aata tha, accent or something. So all ads.
Ads section.
So after TY, I was like, okay, click, go.
Make a round and go.
Yeah, take a round. So early morning, you take your copies of your CVs. My God, LinkedIn is so different now. The world is so different. And we would just take it, go. And okay, yahan pe, this call center, you gave application another, and then you meet all these people in group discussion, and they say, did you try here? Did you try Hutch? Did you try Orange? Did you try?
Those days it was Hutch.
3G,
now it is Vodafone.
3G, and a couple of calls in, and then they like, okay, Epicenter is very popular, and this is not. So again, I could not get through these call centers. So I took a job in a domestic call center, which is a Citibank DS. But I would take holiday somehow and go for that interview. So my thing was, there was 1 year where I must have given 100 interviews.
In a year, you went for 100 interviews. Oh, yes. God.
Because I remember doing 15 a day, and then again next week doing another 15, 20, and then another week. So that was the week. And getting rejected in the last round. So there might be 1 or 2 jobs that I would have got through, but maybe I didn't like them at the time. So I wanted that offer letter. And that zeal that you have at 21 is another level. By that time I was 21. And my friends in college would think like, wow, at least she's doing something. What are we doing? Because, my older, first, second, third year were again in the girls' college, where these girls would not get, they're very good in studies, intelligent, but the parents had some restriction or thinking of getting them married. And my parents were very cool, very cool. They were like, you want to work, you work. You want to prove yourself, prove yourself. You want to make your own, do what you want to do. And then one day I got through a call center interview. And the next day I got through 5 other call centers.
Okay.
You have a choice.
Okay.
And you don't know which one to choose.
I think that those 100 interviews was the preparation of your this interview getting through.
Absolutely. And I learned so much till date, even when I have to teach interview skills, or I tell people never stop giving interviews. And I
Mhm.
think till date, I mean, right now I work for myself, but um, till the time I was working, I would never stop because you know what? One thing interview skills teach you is your value.
Value in the market.
Your value, yeah, your value, the way you speak, the way, okay, what is your position, your value in the market? Yeah, where do you stand? And it's very important because there are times, you know, you go through highs and lows and different phases of your life.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So during this process of giving 100 interviews, um, can you tell our audience any three things, or maybe whatever comes to your mind, how many numbers of suggestions that you would like to give to the audiences who would be preparing themselves for the interview? What was your mindset like, or maybe how did you prepare for the mindset that even if after rejections something was in you to again put together, like pull out all of your together self and again getting ready for the next interview?
So
Because
you
ideally what happens if we get rejected at least not 2 to 3 interview, maybe अगर हम reject हो जाते हैं, it feels like I don't think so we would be going for the next interview. ऐसे ही होता है, right? Most of the
ऐसे
people they
होता है.
decide to quit.
Yeah,
But 100, not even 10, 12,
no, no.
20, 30. So what was keeping you on and on and on and still going in that journey? What was going on? Was it like you're not thinking anything, or you're just doing, or what was it? What is the secret
See,
behind not stopping
my
and
inner
moving on?
voice, my inner voice at that time told me I deserve this.
Okay,
Okay.
that's
And
a
how
powerful
did that
statement.
happen? How did that happen? I started counting my patterns of rejection. What is a pattern that you're using?
Hmm.
Talk about yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? These
Hmm.
are the questions asked in the final round. So there is some pattern somewhere which you are not mastering. And no, I'm sorry, there's a same pattern that you're following
Yeah.
and not trying to change your style. That's why this is happening.
So, what did you find for yourself in the last round? Most of the interviews you were getting rejected. So, what was the pattern that you were not doing right for them, according to the interviewers, and that you could notice, and then you did it differently? Do you remember? I mean, something that you did.
Um, so I remember the group discussions. Okay, it all started. So early days of interview, I would get rejected in group discussions. And then I thought maybe because I'm not heard, and what happens in a group discussion with 50 people at that time, like, you know, it was a big boom.
Remember.
50 people, and, you know, they are picking on people. And then you're like, why? I could not speak. I didn't get a chance to speak.
Mm.
So slowly and steadily, then you start speaking.
Mm.
And then you start arguing back also in that
Mm.
group discussion.
Repeating, huh?
Then you learn some patterns
Mm.
on who is getting selected, who is not. And then there were times, I think after maybe 20 or 30 group discussions, I realized I can clear this round.
Okay.
I can clear this round. And I started clearing that round.
Mm.
Again, listening skills, I wouldn't score in that test which is given. But I was like, if this test is not there and if somebody is asking me to speak, I can clear. So I'm telling you, my inner voice always said, I deserve this. And it always said that. I want to be there. Why no?
Mm.
Okay, why me?
Mm.
And my why me's would always say, try me.
Try me. Wow,
Try.
that's
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah. So I was like, why? No way. I have to try this.
Mm.
And one more thing, you know, I get irritated if someone tells me no.
That's a trigger point for you.
Yeah. So I do believe that no is never a no. No is a new opportunity.
Yeah, true.
And opportunities, you know, like statement here, opportunities are nowhere.
Mm.
If you change it to no to W together, opportunities are now
Now
here.
here.
Yeah. And these look like philosophies, but actually, if you believe in it, anything is possible. So,
And I think one good thing that you shared is like you kept going to those what do you say, group discussions, and after having attended 30 odd group discussions, automatically from your inner being understood the whole pattern and
Yeah,
the algorithm of it, and then your inner being, maybe your inner calling said that, I think I can clear that, because by now when you kept jumping into the water, you started understanding the texture of the water, the depth of the water, the temperature of the water, and the whole, the pattern, everything that
pattern.
your system itself understood, and your brain also understood. I think that's
Yeah,
what these days people are lagging,
lagging.
not giving
Absolutely.
opportunity, not allowing themselves to be there in that, the pool, or whatever the pool that they desire for. That's what
Yeah,
I am
yeah,
hearing from you.
absolutely. And you know what happens is the moment you keep doing something more, you master it.
Yeah, yeah, true, 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 true.
Master it.
I agree
I
with
think after a few years, I was a trainer. I was an interview skills trainer for call centers. You know, so
because of those 100 rejections.
yeah, because you know how to master the skill, and that's how we master, right?
Hmm.
There are even engineering में लोगों को ATKT आती है, and then they really work on it, and then they master, because that's how you learn, and that's how you grow. So these rejections and failures are so important somewhere.
Absolutely, and that's what the Focus in Action podcast is all about. That's where I am not, letting you to complete the story. I just I just told you to stop by here and let's discuss about this, because the more we discuss, that's where the insight would keep coming.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
very, very well shared with the insight of this part of the 100 rejection story, I would say, from the interview. And now, beyond barrier is, now you are a interview skill, you train on interviewing skills. That's the maje wala part to yahi hai, that you have become that now you are helping people how to attend an interview and crack it. That's great. So moving from further, so you said that now you got choices of,
Yeah.
from the BPO. So what happened from there? What was the next barrier or the glass ceiling that was
Absolutely.
waiting for you to break?
I like the way you are asking me, Premsai, because you're stopping me everywhere, and I think it's so much of detailing I've never done. I mean, even I'm enjoying this because it's taking me back to the time. Okay,
Great.
now, again, you're in a BPO. Okay, now you're in a BPO. Again, another big, what you call, calling, which happened in training sessions in BPO.
Mm.
Because once you are in a call center industry, you work for a domestic bank. The
Mm.
trainers are different.
Mm. And
You
can you
work
be a
for a
little louder?
yeah.
Maybe your.
When you work for a domestic bank, the trainers are different,
Mm.
and or a DSA. When you work for an international call center, the trainers are different. And
Mm.
luckily, I had a Canadian trainer, Ronald James, and his energy was another level. Like we talk about Amee,
Mm.
a very very different energy. The moment I sat in the training room, we had like 15 days of training. It started with voice and accent training, then process training, soft skills training. I loved that room. I
Okay.
loved going there. Early morning, getting ready, going to one of the poshest areas of Bombay in a good BPO, very good looking BPO call center industry. And call center is more like casual,
Mm.
it's more like a college life also. So you're excited for the money you get, the training you get. And the moment I entered the training room and I heard him speaking and the way the trainer was, again, that childhood thing came back. I want to be on that side of the stage.
Okay, the same calling,
The
but in
same
a different
calling,
scenario, in a different setup,
different setup.
and
Yeah.
now with a grown-up Amy.
Yeah, yeah, a grown-up Amee who was been working, who got rejected many times, and then she
Mm.
got to an into this.
Mm.
Again, when you're in a training room, there are people who are better than you. When you're in a training room, again, that happens that, okay, maybe you are not so good. And,
Same
there
thing.
are times they ask you questions and you don't know. So
Mm.
we were given this extempo round.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, correct.
Oh, okay. Now, extempos, I started clearing like group discussions because of the training, the
100
interviews I did,
rejections. From
interviews I
100
did.
rejections.
Questions. I said, all these rounds I have been through n number of times, and I
Correct.
love them now. I just love. In fact, it becomes like a hobby. I would say after a few years, if I like not now, but then there was a time in my 30s or 20s. If you, in case you're free, just go for an interview. I even tell teenagers now, if you're free, but they don't want to. Everybody wants to start up now. But if you're free. And if you really want to value yourself or learn some self-worth, go for an interview.
That's a very good insight you have given. Time मिला तो interview के लिए चले जाओ, you know.
Seriously, it's so good because it became like a hobby. For me, it was like a hobby. Rather than spending time with friends, this is what I would do.
I think we can name it something which is coming up right in my mind, and I don't know what you will say listening to it. It's like it's like a Garuda Drishti to your professional life. कि चलो थोड़ा सा इंटरव्यू देने चलते हैं, चलो थोड़ा सा मूवी देखने आते हैं, चलो इंटरव्यू देने चलते हैं.
Absolutely,
And then you get to know that how where do I stand when it comes to a professional person. So a Garuda Drishti or maybe a eagle eye view of your professional set or maybe skills or whatever, and then you get a lot of insight of यहाँ मैं reject हो गया.
Yeah, because you know how HR, you even learn the psychology of a human resource. I mean, HR would not like me for this. Interview देने आ गए, but you understand the psychology of how human resource work. So you know how things work.
Yes.
So when I joined the call center, the trainers really attracted me. I would love to be a trainer someday, is what I decided, being in that classroom itself. But again, when you get on the floor, my voice was loud. My voice is loud. So there are two types of processes. I got into sales rather than customer service. I would like customer service because sales is again on task and targets and everything. But because of my voice, I got into sales.
Okay.
Yeah. So then when you are again selling, you're slow, you're not good, you're not good. There is a scoreboard night 1 o'clock to morning 9 a.m. which is saying different names, Amee 1, or others are on 10, 20, you are on 0, and the calls are coming and going. That again was a lot of, there was a lot of learning, because talking to foreigners, talking in an accent, being good, being not good, being abused by people. There are times you call, of course, nobody likes telecalling, right? Nobody likes to hear telecallers, marketing, sales. But again, after some months, I mastered, became the best performer, applied for promotion. It was 2 years, 2 years, going in, applying, not getting through, applying, not getting through. I think 2 years, 2.5 years is what I worked with BPOs and different shifts. Shift again takes the toll on your health.
True.
And but you don't want to leave it because that's the environment, that's your world. Your whole world is that, because those are the only people you meet, you hang out with, you are in. And then I realized these promotions are not happening, and there is a lot of partiality somewhere. This is what I felt. Okay. And I think it happens, politics and everything is there in all the companies. And I was like, I want to be team leader. It's not getting through. Quality is good. My calls are good. My voice is good. My voice is very well accepted. So then after what happened is, I decided I have to leave this. Okay. I left it again. I joined another company in the same job. But somehow I thought I have to get into different world. Maybe training is something I can do.
Okay. So by now you understood that.
I understood that.
Training is something
I can do. But how can I be a trainer? Because it's not there on my resume. Offer letter.
Offer letter.
Offer letter, job. It's not there. Senior customer service rep or quality analyst is what I would even do. But then how do I get through? Now, to get through, there was an HR company. One of my friends joined her as a trainer, and she told me, you try here. We have 8, 10 branches. Why don't you take care of one of the branch and just come and meet? Again, your salary becomes different because in BPOs, again, you paid like 25,000 by that time, and here they're paying you 7,000 to 10,000, but you have a day shift job, but you get a designation of a trainer. I decided not giving priority to the money, which was coming because it was taking care of me, home, lot of needs at that point of time, even the family needs, whatever it was. I was like, I have to change, make that change. And then I started working there as a trainer and HR HR for that particular company. So what happened, what I would do is people who want to go, I would do tie-ups with different call centers in that area or in Mumbai, all over Mumbai, call the HRs, train people, find the cream, and send them to the companies and make some money out of it, the commission, whatever, So I started doing that for 6, 8 months, 1 year.
In that company.
In that company. The company had other plans. They wanted to get into they wanted to open a domestic call center, very different plans. So one fine day, I even had to move from there. But when I moved from there, I moved as a trainer. There were a lot of barriers in that company also because it was not easy to manage. The boss was never there. And you know how consultancy firms work? Early days on sales targets, and they've given it to somebody.
Not so
franchising, not so process, not organized.
Not organized.
Not organized. And they leave it on one-man show. So things left on.
Are not in place.
Yeah. So it was difficult. And they were more on the business part of it. And I was more on the training part of it. And that's how I had joined. So I was like, again, I have to break something here. I have to move. I have to move somewhere. And I thought that there are changes on my CV which might affect me. But then I thought, no, if I know what I have to do, this is where I stand. No, this is what I like. No, what you like, do what you like. And my parents also told me, do what you like. Don't go for HR or the banking things. Whenever I was in a bank, according to what you are getting or your job profile is, but do what you want to do. Do what you feel like. Your inner calling is important. So then I worked as a freelancer for training companies. Because by that time, I had met n number of HRs. I met a spoken English organization who would do, and my early days, I would train there. By that time, I was like 24, 25 years old. Again, I got through a training company. I worked full-timer in a training company. I worked as a consultant for the same training company. It was a very popular training company at that point of time. And that took me to, travel or pan-India. And then I never had to look back at that point of time.
I think this transition from being called as a customer care executive or a quality analyst and moving to the role of a trainer, though you were in the process of breaking the glass ceiling or going beyond barriers, the transition was not that easy.
No, not at all easy.
And what I'm hearing here as well, that I could if I can pull it and summarize it for our audience, is that at times you have to compromise in some of the other factors and aspects.
Absolutely.
To really breathe and have that satisfaction, and also plan long term, so that would yield the same amount of money or financial freedom eventually moving. But then this time, while you are transiting, if the transitioning is happening, you are making a right choice by compromising with some of the aspects.
Some of the other aspects.
So the big picture is something else there.
Yeah. See, absolutely. And my only thing is in all these learning areas is, never give up.
Yeah.
That no is new opportunity. Don't accept that no. So if your boss is telling you're not good, you're not getting that promotion, you're not good in studies, you are average student, you are not all those things which are happening with you, don't give up. Believe in yourself. Yeah. So it was difficult for me to come out and speak in public. It was difficult for me to take that first training assignment. But then you have to try, because rather than saying or crying about it, why me or why this, try me. I say again, try me. Try karo. Sab kuch hone lag jayega. Apop hone lag jayega. That's how
And the most powerful story of that, I'm not going to forget this 100 interviews, so many rejections, and then you become master in that how not to fail in interviews.
How not to fail interviews. Yeah. And it's okay to fail.
It's
okay to fail. Yeah. there are better things. It's like, I don't know, I tell my students sometimes when they are very young, okay, you fall in love. एक लड़की अच्छी लगती है, ना बोल देती है, दूसरी ना बोलती, तीसरी, बट एंड में तो अच्छी मिलती है ना बाद में.
Very true, very
So,
true. More
yeah, yeah, yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after you joined this company, then what happened? I'm very curious to understand, like, how did you land up to China?
Very good.
इंडिया छोड़ के चाइना कैसे चली गई आप?
So now I was at that stage of life where training assignments would come on. I started training like 10,000 people in Accenture, traveling pan India, doing the best of the training work. And, life was at the peak, best hotels to stay, flights to take. And, that time Kingfisher was a very good airline. And every time going, so, when you are again 24 to 27, you're very happy because after those struggles, you get into what you want to do and
Yeah.
the best. And then the calling comes from your parents, and they're like, "Bhaiya, shaadi kar do." Like, it's time to get married. So I think most of my friends got married by the time they were 24 and 25, and I got married almost when I was going to be 28. So I was 27, but almost going to be 28. So what happened is I just happened to meet my husband through, it was a newspaper advertisement. It was so very much an arranged marriage where my parents said, like, the boy is good, he's staying out, and, good family, and, akela rehta hai, everything is so good at that point of time. Why don't you get married? And I was again very choosy because I was in a training field, which is a very glamorous field somewhere, somehow. And you feel something after you achieve with all the struggles that you do. I met my husband, and there was a lot of it just clicked. It just clicked. It's the way the destiny is. It just clicked, and in 3 or 4 days of meeting, I got engaged.
Okay.
Engaged to this guy, my husband, Dhaval, he was working in China. He was a textile trader, and China. Again, I come from a Gujarati family where a lot of people go to United States and London, and my grandfather is from London, and he stayed there for 25 years. So again, he's also from a teaching background. So a lot of teaching and English speaking and everything comes from him as well to me. So, why China? Everyone was like, and I was like, okay, I like the guy, and maybe this is the time to get married. And I did not think much. Okay, I just got married.
Okay. So your husband was going to China for?
Yeah, he was working there. He was living.
He was already working.
He was already there. He just came to see like how arranged meets happen, So then there was a time when everything is good, but when your career is booming, suddenly you get married again. There's a pause.
Yeah.
Because there are other things to do and take care of. My in-laws are pretty open-minded, but they were in India, and I moved with my husband, and it was a city which was very closer to Shanghai called Shaoxing. Now again, China today and China in 2008 was different, very different. We have a different picture of being abroad and, this persona of how things are and there. And I was very happy because, see, after a certain age, you all want change in life. You want to do different things in different ways. But the moment I moved there, I saw no one can speak English. No one understands me. I don't have friends here. Everything is new, including my husband. The house, the place, the environment, the people. And I don't know where I landed. From all that high, there was a lot of low.
Low, yeah.
Low, there was low.
I think you are in the verge of again wearing your gloves to break this glass ceiling.
And up kya?
Up kya?
My husband said, being a trainer, English speaking, or you call it ESL, English as a second language teacher, is a very, very popular profession out there. He's like, you try. So he did speak to 1 or 2 universities. I went for interviews. But again, every application, again, the interview process started.
Yeah, okay.
And there were a lot of interviews here. Every एक स्कूल नहीं छोड़ा था मैंने पूरे सिटी में जहां मैं रहती थी और आसपास के सिटी में भी. See, when you have zeal to work, no, Premsai, you will find your way. And if you don't, then you won't. because I see myself also those years, and now, even if I have to, there are things you don't. But if you have that zeal, you will do it. That's how human beings are. So
I think the letter zeal and zid is both the same. Hindi mein
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. That's a good one, actually, zeal or zid. So, but the biggest barrier was we don't hire non-native speakers. So there was a label on me, non-native speaker. And non-native bhi theek hai. The country, I saw people, it's a communist country. And so people don't know what is happening. Too many things outside. Facebook and everything is not legally allowed out there. So you feel non-native speakers and Indians, because you're brown skin, you're not welcome. So if it's a non-native speaker, but maybe Russian or German, who is not natively speaking English, but because he's looking white, it's easy for him to get the job. So I didn't like this. I was like, well, Indians speak the best English. We were ruled by Britishers for 100 years. And why not me? Again, why? What is the problem here? So online applications rejected because they see your passport. Offline, okay, when you talk on the phone, I learned accent and mastering in accent in BPOs. I used that as my Brahmastra. Okay, a trick. That was one way. Again, but where do you come from? What's your nationality? A Chinese would ask you, as soon as your phone is there. And I'm from India, and no. Okay, now here is a little bit of jhol also I've done. So my mother lived in England for 15 years. My grandfather lived there for 25 years. And my grandfather speaks British accent. So you know how I would sell myself? So if you have to sell yourself, I was like, okay, hi, my name is Amee. I come from India. My father is from India and my mother is from London.
Oh.
My mother is from London.
Okay, the accent.
Yeah. So again, my passport is Indian, but yes, I have, and I have lived there. It's not that I haven't, not all my life, but I have been there for vacations, and my grandfather lived there. There was nothing, I was lying here. But then I thought that a little bit of trickiness would make
language
enter.
Entry.
That entry is important. Because see, after giving so many interviews in India, I understood what is needed. Even if the country is different, this is what they want. So I started catching on what a person wants.
The need of other person.
Yeah. Why? The first week I was like, are they crazy? Why native speakers? Who said Americans speak the best English? No. And I worked for American projects in call centers. So I knew US geography very well. Though I've never traveled to US, but I know I can even sell sitting at one place, Orange Lake Country Club, or where is Utah, or where is, I know the map. So I knew these things. I've learned a bit of it. So I used those as whatever my learnings were and started giving interviews again. So I would go to every school in the city, and they would pay very good money to ESL teachers. I met a group of Indian women there, and I got very excited. And my husband's not that, he's more of an introvert. So he had 2-3 bachelor friends, that's it. So, not used to India and Indian communities. And I went to talk to them in a mall. They said, oh, we are from India. You will never get a job here. And they cut me off. And I was like, what? How can you being Indian, you are putting another Indian down. Why can't you get a job? I said, I applied. No, you can't get. I was like, I'm a trainer. You try to, shosha, you want to do that. But no. But then I saw the pattern of the opposite culture, Chinese. I learned some good words in Chinese. I also, so my first job was in a Yusho Foreign Language University, a very big university in the city. I got through the very second week.
Okay.
Very second.
That's a achievement.
Yeah. And I knew, and thanks to those 100 interviews, thanks to those 100 interviews, because I know I have to keep, I get it. So uh, there were directors who were Australians, and there were directors who came from different, but then they understood the quality you're giving. So I was asked to do a demo for in a school, in a private institute. Again, the universities pay you half, then the private will pay you 2 times, 3 times higher. So I saw the entire market. I worked for 6 months in a university, and then moved to private TEFL Academy, or all these TESOL schools, IELTS schools. They don't teach only IELTS, but they teach a lot of business English and soft skills.
Okay.
And soft skills as well. And there were companies where I told that I can introduce soft skills because I'm from a training background. Again, my training in India was another level. And here I had to come down to the basics. So there are times you get tired. There are times people don't know how to speak. And these, from university to private institute, these schools are very posh, very well made. They charge a bomb from participants, like at that point of time, wo zamane mein they would charge like 20,000 RMB or 40,000 RMB or 500, which is 8,000 rupees for an hour's class, Yeah. Trainers were paid very good, which was again attractive. At the same time, teaching was not easy. Because here you're going to the roots, you're understanding a psychology of a person. So university was one kind of a job I did. And in university, you have a curriculum to follow. And then I moved to private institute where when I gave my first interview, no one's it was a demo in a classroom. Okay. Where businessmen, doctors, engineers to working professionals, everybody was there. And nobody reacted. So there was no body language. And the culture works like that, actually. There's no body language and expression. And I was like, you're not talking. After a few days, they called me that students loved you. We want you to work with us. And I was like, really? How is that possible? And then, they loved you. But I was like, they don't express it. But then I understood that's how the culture is. That's how the culture is.
Lot of learning, in the process.
Lot of learning.
In
fact,
because
right
being
now,
a trainer, we look for these kind of, being a trainer, we look for these kind of cues and non-verbals, which we look for our validation. But at times, we never know who is absorbing and learning from where silently that's happening. We need to also have the space, create the space, and accept and acknowledge that part as well.
That part as well, that not everybody will do that.
So how many years you stayed there in China?
I stayed there for a decade.
And you have been, so you landed up at the end of working with this ESL as a ESL.
ESL training institute. So there's one more story here, small story. I'll just talk. When I joined university also, an Australian teacher came. There was a group of foreign teachers. So we are from British, American. I was the only Indian, Australian, and native speakers, some of the native speaking countries. And we would all gather in a teacher's room. And my first day, one of the foreigners, he touched me like this on my nose and said, "You brown skin, how will they like you?" So a foreign teacher, a teacher from another country. And I felt very bad, as an offense. So like, you're brown skin. People don't like brown skin here, or Indians here, and Indians have, and a lot of Indian women would try for jobs and they would get rejected in that city also. That's also what I observed. And I took it not as an offense. I was like, the time will say, I didn't meet him again because it had nothing to do. I was like, why people don't go on a person's skin? Why do people get into this? Because I'm not seeing that world in Mumbai. Mumbai is a very, very free city as such. And especially the background I come from, I've never seen that kind of a thing. So a few years later, I became a director in a foreign teaching team. So I worked with like 20 Britishers working with me, under me.
Oh, wow.
To report me. So again, imagine a country where only native speakers can teach English, to getting that position was a very big achievement for me.
So
You know,
that's Amee,
very
again breaking the glass ceiling and beyond barriers. Amazing, amazing. I
yeah.
mean, this is one of the best story. I think I would definitely, glad that you shared it such in such detail.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Someone pointing, it's kind of an office. Anybody would take it to a very deeper level, and
Yeah,
that would be sufficient for not to, apply or maybe quit from that place. But
please.
then you went further, and then you challenged that time will speak and time spoke.
Yeah, time spoke. It's all about trying. See, you
Hmm.
understand the person. See, why when we do public speaking or when we teach or when we talk to people or when we talk to a client or whatever, even if you're talking to our own children or whatever, the trigger is, you just understand the opposite person or the market and, you change yourself,
The need has
mold
to
yourself.
become adaptable, or
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
you can use or play around with your gears that you have,
yeah, yeah.
or
Like
rather maybe adding more gears that is required so that
required.
you can play around that. That's good. So
So,
how come you came back from China? I mean,
yeah.
your husband moved.
Again, so my last job was being at the peak, being a director to the foreign teaching team,
Yeah.
teaching foreigners how to teach English in China, which
Mm.
was the best training program that I had launched out there. One of my favorite training program, and I love that program still. If someone tells me to do, it for 10 years we worked there. We had a good life. My husband was pretty open minded. Both of us were there, and we did not plan children early. And it was a
Mm.
very planned pregnancy I had, which was after a decade. You know, and after a decade, it's a bit late at the age of 37 when you have a child. It's not easy. I had a lot of medical complications when I lived there in my seventh month. So I went through influenza and pneumonia and I was hospitalized. And there were times when doctor gave up and said that she won't survive. And again, my inner calling said, I want to live with the child. And I would visualize that. I would think
Oh.
and I would feel that. So the medical conditions are not very good abroad compared to what you have in India. And I mean, a lot of complications, which is a barrier. I mean, I speak Mandarin, but not to another level. But then I think a team of 20 doctors worked on me, my body in ICU. And it was not easy. Every day taking injections, going through that what do you call it? I went through a very severe pneumonia, very, very crazy. It was like life-threatening pneumonia. Getting through hospitals, and my husband had to do a lot of moving all over the place when that happened, on records on the paper and moving. The city we lived did not have. And we realized that schools, education, and hospitalization is good in our own country.
Mm.
Time to go back. So it's always good to live abroad, learn the good flavors. And I was in the favor of living outside India and whatever I had achieved. But then there was a call. My husband had better opportunities back to India, and I had to move back with a 1-year-old baby.
Okay. So,
And
so your son, you got delivered like,
no, he got delivered in India, but I had to go back again. I,
back.
I did go. But that pneumonia, which was life threatening, 15 days spent in a hospital, there was a time when there were no rooms available and you had to stay in a common ward, which is absolutely not easy. And I am a person who has never fallen sick. So hospital to bahut dur ki baat hai,
Okay.
not even going to doctor.
Mm.
And suddenly this big thing happened,
Mm.
which was very, very tough. I had to go through several injections and surgery and everything, but I was very strong. So in spite of, going through a lot of emotions in your seventh month, I was very strong. I knew I could imagine myself doing a nice baby shower, playing games like to play in a training room, you know. So After my son was born, it was difficult. It was difficult stage because, you are a career oriented person. And then especially you have a late child, your mood swings are different. You don't know. So the first 3 months were absolutely crazy. And I had to stay in India again, enjoying family, and then going back to China. And after a year, we moved. We moved because of my husband's work. And again, you live in a joint family, you're in India, you have made a base in China. What do you do now? How do you start again? Training industry is like a saturated market. There are different names, different jargons, different things which I don't even know. Different world. It's a very different world. I don't know. How can I get back? I have an experience of China. Who will hire me? How do I start again? Do I work for a company? Do I work for myself? And
another phase started here.
Another phase started in 2017. I moved back to India 2007. I got married and I left in 2008. 10 years coming back. What do you do now? So this was tough. This was really, really tough. And again, moving in a joint family is also tough because you're not used to it. You're not used to it. It's not that even my in-laws were not used to me and nor I was used to them. So it is different because see, we all are independent and we're staying in our own ways. And again, certainly buying a house in Mumbai is not possible. Right? You have a base there. How do you do it? But you manage in that and you manage with a child. Another thing. What do you do? So I started slowly. I started going to see what is training market like. Image consultancy became very popular. When I would go and meet these companies who would promote or take certification, I also have to tell you, all these years of my training was never on certification. Okay. It was all because of my experience. So offer letters, yes, that's a certification. But no certification properly, except, through trainers, which I might have had through my companies, but not a very proper one. So I was confused here. How do I do? And very close to my house, I live in Powai, which is surrounded by a lot of expats in Mumbai. So the place I live really helped me to move ahead. Place and my patience. It really helped me. I was like, no, I can't sit. And then my mother was like, why don't you teach Mandarin? You speak Chinese, learning is demanding. Teach children. Now, children is not my portrayal. I'm very happy taking care of my kid, but that's not what I like. Still, I started teaching creative writing. I did a program called Talk by TED, which was not named by me, but some company who wanted me to do. So I started teaching children. I started learning storytelling, became a very popular skill in Mumbai. So I did a course on storytelling and how do you say, but somehow, I was not very happy. And with child and other responsibilities, I was like, what's happening with me? I'm not happy, the maids, not too many maids at home. And I was just not happy. I was like, okay. And I was not used to cooking because China, you get maids available everywhere. They do everything for you. There are a lot of pros of being in China and there are a lot of cons also. What happened with me in India? I was like, how do I do? And one fine day, there was a club called Toastmasters, which was very closer to
I was about to ask this question, like how this started.
Yeah. So I just went there as a guest. Okay, it's a public speaking club. I went there as a guest and I saw people sharing stories. And I said, oh, I like the stage. I like that stage. Okay, so maybe this is a place I can meet people at least because people are like you. Okay, they all like public speaking. That's why they are there. That's some connection might happen.
Yeah.
Working might happen. So what I did is I joined that club. And the very first week, they had a contest, which is area level and district level. And they have these all. I didn't take any contest seriously. And I've never won, a contest or things like that anytime, nor I go for it. So what I did, whatever was happening in my life as a toddler's mom, there's a story there on my YouTube channel as well. I just wrote it in a piece of paper. I didn't even know how to write, frankly speaking. I know how to train, but I don't know how to write and share. And And it was a humorous speech contest. So a story which was there, a story which I made a few parts of humor, and I practiced exactly like those 100 interviews. Practiced very well. Because that was something I was passionate about it. I just realized and went and spoke the story. I'm going to speak the story. And my house environment was very different at that point of time. Everybody's focus was on the kid. Okay, not me. Very different. So nobody cares what story I speak or what I do or what. And they were like first runner-up, second runner-up, third, and I came first.
Oh, wow.
They said, you will go to club level to area level contest, which is a very big contest. I was what? Really? I never seen a trophy, and I had this trophy with me. I was like, wow. I mean, people like me. I mean, people like you. Wake up. Everything is not over here. And that was a very, very big breakthrough. Then from the area club level to area level, when I gave my speech at area level, I thought I'm good and I will win because I practiced like anything. I could not win that and I felt a little bad about it. I was not a part of first, second, third, but I saw n number of speakers. And after my speech, I saw people coming to me and saying, wow, what a speech, what a story. Maybe it didn't match the audience there or the judges, but they said, wow, what a speech, what a toddler's mom. And a lot of people, even in the washroom, people came and told me this. I was like, okay, this is good. And slowly and steadily, I became a member there. So I started going regularly and I became a popular Toastmaster in Powai club. And I met a lot of people who started, who were into training. I met a very good friend. She's a very good friend of mine now, who would work for TIS, Tata Institute of Social Science. So I got a CSR project through TIS. Which was a very close. My son was 2.5 years old. He started going to school. Like I did have complications at home on how to study training or how to practice because we in Mumbai don't have big homes. We stay in 2 BHK apartments. And by the time it was 2018 and 19, I think I was making some progress, not much, but some progress. Again, I would miss China because that's where I came from and the things I had achieved there, the friends I made there. But somehow I started progressing a little and I would drop my son to the, the play school and go to a college, some shitty college nearby, train people, then feel very satisfied, wear that sari, groom myself and go. And COVID hit.
That's a thing for everybody of us.
Yeah, all of us.
Yeah, and we learned and we grew and we relearned, unlearned, a lot of things happened in that.
Yeah, and for me, it was like, see, moving to India, joint family, child, and now COVID. Now what to do? The Toastmasters became online, but luckily it just gave me a lot of work, a training work. I would teach a subject called as Youth Leadership and People Skills, which covers communication, time management, and life skills, leadership, everything. And I would teach students in the morning, my housework, wash dishes, argue with people at home, take care of the child. And at the same time, everything happened in COVID. I changed a lot in COVID as well. I started reading, updating, getting up early, following Robin Sharma's 5 a.m. philosophy. And I was not too much into books in spite of being a trainer for all these years. But books became my best friends, or an audio book especially. I enjoyed all of that, those phases, did some training, facilitation courses, did a coach certified ICF course. And then I was like, okay, so by the time I figured out what kind of
what is the missing thing?
I thought, yeah, one certification is needed, Amee. You have it's all the same. Everything is same. Nobody. So, I realized by that time, till that time, I was little scared. I was even worried about what is LinkedIn like. I don't know what is LinkedIn till I met somebody from Toastmasters who said, Amee, you're a trainer. I'm a trainer. How come you're not on LinkedIn? And that's when I was introduced to LinkedIn. And that friend of mine was very active on LinkedIn. And then slowly and steadily, I started making my place. I accepted some challenges. And yeah, the story.
So, Amy, tell me, what are the three things your space is giving right now?
Three things.
Your
This,
space, this happy space you are in right now. By,
uh,
I think, breaking the glass ceiling, I think I have stopped counting how many glass ceiling you have broken. So I would say it is easy है बोलना कि beyond barriers. So after all this, going beyond barriers, now you are in a happy space. What are the three things that is really, really giving you or as a satisfaction from the happy space that you are in?
okay. I would say I still want to be in a happier space.
Oh yeah, that's being human.
That's
We
never
all have
ending.
that
That's human, a
desire
desire.
to go to the next
But
level.
but I would say do what you love to do.
Yes.
That's what I chose. Okay, the training. Do what you love to do, in spite of people telling you, change your jobs and professions, and this might pay you money. It pays you or it doesn't pay you. Okay.
Which
I
means
would say
listen
I
to
would say it does. I would say it does because I teach communication as a skill, and it's your skill which pays your bill.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It does pay
That
your
is
bill.
one.
So yeah. So the skill, if you have one particular skill, stick to it and grow in that field. Grow yourself, learn more. Happy space, yeah, do what you want to, do what you love to do.
So that is listen to your inner calling.
Inner voice, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to your inner voice, do what you love to do. Be consistent.
Okay.
Be
So,
consistent.
so I want you to, so what are the three things that you're getting as a satisfaction from this happy space?
A satisfaction that I'm getting right now, you're talking
From
about.
the happy space, yeah. Three.
I was like, I don't know how to say in three things, but I would just say, when I look back to that journey, that last venture, I was like, hey, you are a mentor today. You are a front mentor today. And
what does this feeling gives you?
it gives me a lot of contentness, satisfaction, a feel-good factor. It's just a feel-good factor, I would say. I don't know how to put it in the 3 pointers here, but it gives me a lot of satisfaction, and it says, it keeps telling me, your efforts are never waste.
Yeah. True.
Never. Like this year when I got an Achievers Award, Women's Achievers Award, I was like, it's all your story. People are looking.
It's all your story.
People do.
Absolutely,
it's all your story.
absolutely.
It's all your story, and we all have it. It's good to voice your story. Okay. For me, it was my voice. Yeah, it was my voice, like Lata Mangeshkar would say late. Awaaz meri pehchan hai. So my voice became my identity. My voice is my identity because I'm a communication coach and a soft skills trainer. You call that accent voice. You call that interviewer's voice. You call that rejection, whatever happened. That telecaller's voice, which I spoke about, and the voice which broke the barrier of being racist to leading a team, to being a toddler's mom, a public speaker there, to all the things that happen.
Now a mentor's voice.
A mentor's voice. Yeah.
So as we have moved to the last part of this segment, which is we are entering to a very funny part, which is very quick, of maybe 3 to 5 minutes, which we're entering to a rapid fire with humor.
Okay, that's fun.
So these questions are very impromptu. You have to just give me in one liner or so the answers. So, so shall we start? Are you ready?
Sure. Go ahead.
So if you had to teach communication skills, being a communication trainer, to a group of aliens, what would be the first tip you would give them?
Oh my God, this is like
Tip.
Okay.
Or maybe whatever what is the one thing that you would like to start with? Those are aliens.
Aliens. So I would say even when I moved to China, the country and the people were aliens to me. It was.
Okay. So aliens are the real aliens. You don't metaphorically use.
I would say you learn a tip that I would give them. So for my first thing is I match mirror, and then I lead.
Mm.
So I would match their
That's a good
opinions.
insight. Yeah.
I would match them. I would mirror them,
Mm.
whatever they are,
Mm.
and then from there I would take and I would
You will
lead. So I would
calibrate
be an
from there.
alien, and yeah, that's how I would be.
And the second question is, um, what's the most outrageous excuse you have heard from someone who didn't want to participate in a communication training session of yours?
Outrageous excuse that I've heard.
Maybe something very funny, or if you remember.
Frankly speaking, I haven't heard an excuse as such, but I know to do work, people make excuses. So there's a lot of, when you teach people on to communication, there's a lot of homework or a voice work or things which are given, and participants don't want to do that. I mean, very last week this happened where I was pushing a coachee to work on his to start making videos, because every day to send me a video, and he was like, I don't have time, madam, I don't have time.
So that's an excuse.
That's an excuse. And I think, yeah, that is an outrageous excuse, because we all have time. So I had to push it to another limit, that if I show you this video post, this podcast, I was amazed at the results I got. And it only happened with that push, that zeal, So anything is possible. It's just that you don't have time. No, in COVID, I never had time. You have to find time.
Yeah.
You have to make time for yourself. So
number 3 question is, if you could, this is the last one of the rapid fire. If you could only communicate using emojis for a day,
okay,
which 3 emojis would you use to describe your morning coffee routine? You're a coffee
person,
right? So just imagine your morning coffee routine, and try to communicate using 3 emojis for that particular time, or maybe for that particular 1 hour, or whatever it is. How do you do it? Either you use your face as an emoji, or how do you like to do it? It's up to you.
Okay, as an emoji for a coffee, I would be like, because an excitement, because I think that wakes me up. That wakes me up. Or still, if the person is not understanding, I would just show a cup of coffee and do it. But so coffee wakes me up. Yeah.
Okay, so the 2 more emojis. No, you showed only 1.
Oh, I did? Okay, you have to show
3 emojis.
3 emojis for the same thing. Okay.
So the routine of that coffee routine, everything, describing your morning coffee routine.
Okay, I would do.
Okay.
It's your coffee, wakes you up, and then you are on job or on work.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great, and that's interesting.
That's something very nice. Okay.
So Amee, we have already, we have come to the last part of it, and that one question that I always ask to my guest at the end. So this is the last part of the question that I love to hear out the answers, whatever is there in my guest's mind, is that what is that one thing that you have experienced in this podcast at the end, as you relieved everything, So what is that one thing that you got as an insight or something after this discussion, as we are about to conclude?
I think it was a brilliant podcast, because everything was very casual and very, very natural, the way we did. I don't know how people will find it, but this is what I felt. And I think there were a lot of, when you share your story, when you share your story, and when you share it with your heart, a lot of, enlightenment happens.
Yeah.
So I could feel that. Oh, wow, I love that. And I quit. Okay, I don't know that new thing on. Okay, so a lot of enlightenment does happen, and so keep sharing. Keep sharing. The more you share, you don't know where your voice or your story will take you.
What is that one thing that you are experiencing right now at the end of the podcast?
Okay, I think a
As a
lot of
person, you as a
enlightenment,
person.
me as a person, I'm experiencing that there's a long, what do you call, I don't know exactly, I'm not getting right words here, but the journey was long.
Okay.
The journey was long, but I think I enjoyed it to the fullest. I think I enjoyed, and I think I will keep enjoying it. Keep enjoying it. It's good to have this journey. Yeah.
And I think from there, way to go, Amee,
Yeah.
moving
And
forward.
last venture to front mentor and mentor to a senior mentor. You never know. So it will keep going. Yeah.
Excellent. And it was amazing knowing your story such in detail and a lot of insight in between. Uh, when I was pausing you and then, asking you the details about the mindset and the rejections, the 100 interviews, those are very interesting, small stories that
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can
yeah.
pull out from the podcast. So even that is also great. So thank you so much, Amee, for being accepting this particular invitation and being here in Focus in Action podcast. And possibly as you are creating more stories now, so we'll catch up second time with some more stories where you are still hitting the glass ceiling and breaking it and going beyond barriers. So this is
Sure.
podcast Beyond Barriers with a conversation with Anne.
Thank you. Thank you, Premsai. Thank you.